Hello, welcome to Encore. Thanks for joining us. I'm Rochelle Harrison-Pless. Coming up on today's cinema show. From a big-budget gender-swapping reboot of the Oceans franchise to a film about the extraordinary life of a 20th century screen siren who was also a brilliant pioneering engineer, plus a terrifying indie horror flick.
Counting down. 3, 2, 1. Game on.
I know what I did. There comes a point when you can't take any more, then you have to make yourself heard.
Make it stop! Make it stop!
And here to talk about those films is our film critic, Lisa Nesselson. Hello, Lisa. Always good to see you. Now, we kick off with a reboot of the popular Oceans franchise. It started with The Rat Pack in 1960. Then Steven Soderbergh spearheaded a smart, updated trilogy with Oceans 11, 12 and 13. And now we have Oceans 8, with the latest spin on the crime caper getting an all-female cast.
Yes, the original film had Frank Sinatra playing Danny Ocean, who with the 11 title people attempts to rob 5 Las Vegas casinos simultaneously. A capsule review I read says, entire Rat Pack's in it, but nobody does much. Well, people are doing stuff here. This distaffed update, in which Sandra Bullock plays Debbie, the sister of the late Mr. Ocean, who was played by George Clooney, is mildly engaging, completely disposable, and promotes New York City and committing high-end crimes there in about equal measure. I enjoyed this more than I did, say, Solo, a Star Wars story, but that is really damning with faint praise. Debbie has been in prison for 5 years, gets out on parole, is forbidden from associating with any criminals, and of course immediately looks up every female criminal she knows. Here are partners in crime, Cate Blanchett, Sandra Bullock, and Awkwafina.
So you want to hit a jewelry store?
Not exactly.
A diamond mine.
Yes, that's exactly right.
Or what? The Met.
That's a great idea, but I mean, who else is going to play everyone? And is it just going to be a kind of a lesser version of what's already been? Because I loved the Oceans film.
In 3.5 weeks, the Met will be hosting its annual ball, and we are going to rob it.
Look at you.
$16.5 million in each of your bank accounts 5 weeks from now. That's a lot.
Not so much about the acquisition of money as it is the thrill of the danger.
The chase.
Of executing the heist, especially in this case. You know, they decided to do something in broad daylight.
Now, this movie cost a lot to make, but it just dawned on me only half as much as the value of the necklace they're out to steal. The actresses are having lots of fun, and their makeup is on way, way, way too thick. It's all way too convenient and laughably implausible in a movie-ish way, but that's fine. And as a topical stunt, casting all women is fun, but it's not inherently exciting.
Okay, well, I know it hasn't got glowing reviews, but I think I will be heading to the cinema this weekend to check it out. Well, from fictional females to a real-life woman whose story was so incredible you couldn't make it up. Lisa, that's the premise of a new documentary called Bombshell, the Hedy Lamarr story.
Indeed it is. How about a real-life heroine, a breathtakingly gorgeous entertainer, but also a scientific pioneer who, trust me, improved your life, whether you've ever heard of her or not. Vienna-born Hedy Lamarr had more beauty and more brains than the world could comfortably cope with. Would Albert Einstein have been taken seriously if he looked like Cary Grant? Or had he been, horrors, a woman? Lamarr appeared in the nude as a teenager in the otherwise dull but eternally notorious 1933 German film called Ecstasy, where she mimed for the first time on screen a female sexual climax. Oh. Lamarr, who happened to be Jewish, left Austria before the outbreak of World War II, having overheard too much scary dinner conversation by the side of her arms dealer husband. Apparently Mussolini was a guest in their home. Her beauty was absolutely justifiably legendary. Her name was a household word. In addition to acting, marrying 6 times, being a single parent, building an Austrian-style chalet in Aspen because she had a hunch that that location might become an attractive ski resort someday. She also helped aviation pioneer and insanely wealthy Howard Hughes improve the design of his airplanes. And in the early 1940s, with the composer George Antheil, she came up with and patented the technology that, no joke, underlines Bluetooth and Wi-Fi. The technique of frequency hopping. She outlined and patented. Didn't bring her a cent, although in retrospect, it's undoubtedly, clearly worth billions. If she was bitter, she didn't show it. Here's her voice over the phone in an interview in the 1990s with Forbes magazine journalist Fleming Meeks.
I'll read you something pretty. People are unreasonable, illogical, and self-centered. Love them anyway. If you do good, people will accuse you of selfish, alternative motives. Do good anyway. The biggest people with the biggest ideas can be shut down by the smallest people with the smallest mind. Think big anyway.
So, Lisa, beauty and brains, but was there anything she couldn't do?
It might have been better for her sake had she not been a pioneer in being on the receiving end of cosmetic surgery, telling the surgeons where the incisions would be least visible because there were diminishing returns with age. As Serge Gainsbourg, the French singer-songwriter, said, and he was kind of a funny-looking guy, "I like ugliness. It lasts." Lamar died a near-penniless recluse shortly after the turn of the century. The Guardian's 5-star review has subject tags at the end that are very telling. Celebrity, women, film industry, and engineering. This is a terrific introduction to a fascinating life.
I can't wait to see it, Lisa. Well, changing gears now to something creepier, and it's not easy to make a truly scary movie. Audiences have a tendency to giggle, to break the tension, but apparently nobody is giggling at the new film Hereditary, out this week in France. Did this one spook you, Lisa?
This is a genuinely scary movie, delectably unsettling. And to the extent that when I stumbled out of the screening room, everybody and everything seemed just a little weird, just a little off for about an hour afterwards. I was very grateful not to know a thing about this going in, so I'm going to tiptoe around so that any viewers who are inclined to see it can have that same sort of optimum experience. Because that's just the kind of gal I am when evil isn't listed in the credits, but definitely plays a role. This film suggests we have to be wary of the notion that families are a beautiful thing. Depends on the family. It's been hinted at in the press that writer-director Ari Aster drew on true personal experiences to fashion this very disturbing tale. Here's Annie, played by Toni Collette, musing on her late mother's parenting style.
She's completely manipulative until my husband finally enforced a no-contact rule, which lasted until I got pregnant with my daughter. I didn't let her anywhere near me when I had my son, which is why I gave her my daughter, who she immediately stabbed her hooks into. And I felt guilty again. When she got sick, not that she was really even my mom at the end, and not that she would ever feel guilty about anything. And I just don't want to put any more stress on my family.
Well, how mysterious. Now, I understand your reluctance to give too much away, but what's safe for us to know?
Safe? Nothing is safe. Where was I? The Grahams are a seemingly typical American nuclear family with a beautiful house. Annie is a stay-at-home artist who builds detailed architectural miniature environments. Her husband, Steve, played by Gabriel Byrne, is supportive, but never in a gushing way. They have 2 kids. Young daughter Charlie really, really misses Grandma. She suffers from various phobias and is not what you'd call popular. Their son, Peter, is a teenager, and he's going through changes, like most young men. I think this movie does a superb job of telling a chilling story, but don't go anywhere near it if you frighten easily.
Well, I do frighten easily, so I'm guessing that's perhaps one that I'm going to have to stay away from. Now, Lisa, the film industry can be a cutthroat business, but But you've just witnessed some extraordinary kindness and generosity. Tell us about Les Nuits en Or, or Golden Nights.
Okay, suppose you live in South Africa or Taiwan or Senegal, and you've always wanted to travel to London, Rome, Athens, and Paris. London, we'll wait. You could save up and see a travel agent, or, this may not be practical, but you could make a short film and win your country's equivalent of an Oscar, and then find yourself the pampered guest of France's Académie des Césars. The French Academy gives the César Awards every February, but dozens of other countries have their own equivalent. In Belgium, you win a Magritte. In Norway, an Amanda. In Romania, the Gopo. In the Netherlands, you get a golden calf. In Taiwan, a golden horse. And departing from that gold theme, in South Korea, you get a blue dragon. And 34 recipients of those honors. So, in theory, the very best short films made worldwide last year were the guests of the French Academy to show their work to audiences in Rome and Athens, and this week in Paris, because UNESCO knows that cultural exchange is a wonderful thing and makes the world a better place. They just hosted a gala dinner for the winners, each of whom were paired with a distinguished French film celebrity. The world is now semi-obsessed with speeding up the number of women both in front of and behind the camera. I counted, of the 34 winners, 13 this year were women. One film was co-directed by a man and a woman, so 13 and a half movies by women out of 34 is outstanding.
Not bad.
Go female filmmakers.
Girl power indeed. Well, some of the films have hit theatres here in France, and the event wraps up this week with free showings in Paris. We'll leave you with a few snippets. Thanks again to our film critic Lisa Nesselson. Thank you. Catch up with past film shows on our website and stay in touch on social media. Keep it right here on France 24. Lots more coming up after this.